Shalom lekulam. How's everybody doing wherever you are in the world and whatever time it is for you? I hope you are feeling well and that you are b'simcha, because this is how we acquire all wisdom. Big shout out to Erez for putting this on. Erez and I have known each other for a long time, but we were zoche that in the last few months we started doing a chavruta in the morning, which is the best part of the day. And we've been learning in the Likutei Moharan with Pirush Oteo, which I highly recommend for those of you who are comfortable with Hebrew. It's Oteo, and it's by Rabbi Eliyahu Atiya, and it has all the birurim, all the clarifications on Likutei Moharan. Also, we Baruch Hashem, we complete Likutei Moharan every year, based on the seder that was put together by my great friend Rabbi Shmuel Halevi, aka Leviathan, who's an incredible guitar player, and who divided up Likutei Moharan into daily portions so that one can finish the entire Likutei Moharan every year without wanting to boast, maybe a little. This is the 14th year that we're completing it, and let me share with you and tell you that finishing Likutei Moharan every year gives a feeling of shlemut that is indescribable unless you do it. So I strongly encourage you to finish Likutei Moharan every year, even if it means that you only understand one more word every time. It's for sure worth it. I got a chance to chime in today, and all the speakers were incredible. And I would like to talk about the ta'amim inside of Tikkun HaKlali, the incantations or the cantillations of the ta'amim, or the intonations, if you like, which are of course present everywhere in Tehillim. And rather than talk about them, I'm going to start by cantillating one of them. If you have a Tikkun HaKlali in front of you that has the Tehillim, that has the ta'amim, I encourage you to open it on Perek 137, Psalm 137. And I'll start by the end by singing it, and I'll get into the explanation if you like. So here we go with 137. I'll give you 3 more seconds to grab it. Kuf Lamed Zayin, Al Narot Bavel. הנהרות בבל, שם ישבנו גם בכינו, בזוכרנו את ציון, על ערבים בתוכה תלינו, כינורותינו, כי שם שרנו שובנו, דברי שיר ותורה לנו שמחה, שירו לנו משיר ציון, איך נשיר את שיר אדוני על אדמת נחת, אם אשכחך ירושלים, תשכח ימיני, תדבק לשוני לחיקי. אם לא אזכרכי, אם לא אעלה את ירושלים, על ראש שמחתי, זכור אדוני לבני דום. את יום ירושלים, האומרים עלו, על היסוד בה, בת בבל השדודה, אשרי שישלם לך את דימולך, שגמת לנו אשרי שיוחז וניפץ את עוללייך אל הסלה. So, this was not improvised. I'm following the ta'amim. My background is I'm a Montreal boy essentially. My name is Maimon. Shukun. Grew up in the Montreal community, the Montreal Moroccan community. And I took to music as a kid. When I started to play music professionally at a pretty young age. It took me to California, and I've been living here since 1995, where Baruch Hashem, I have a family here. And so when I was a young kid, as I said, I was very much into music. And I grew up in a rather traditional family, typical Moroccan traditional family, not Haredi, but very traditional. And the tshuva wave hit all of us. and we became more serious about our Jewish observance. And I started amalgamating, putting together things that I learned in Torah together with music. And of course, Tehillim had a great influence on me, and I started reading Tehillim. And I noticed that in the Chumash, everybody pays attention to the Ta'amim. ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום אני מדבר. So it follows the Ta'amim. This is Fardi Ta'amim, but truth be told, Ta'amim don't belong to a melody. Ta'amim is not melody, it's intonation, it's movement. And this is the important thing that I have to share, is that it's about the movement, the emphasis, the way to emote, and how David HaMelech wrote it and meant it. Because David HaMelech was not just a wordsmith, he wasn't just a lyricist, he was a poet with rhythm and with melody and inflections and intonations. And those became ta'amim, to be observed, to be preserved throughout the generations. And here we are still observing these ta'amim. So I noticed that even though I came from a strong liturgical background, when it came to Tehillim, for the most part, the beginning of the pasuk and the end of the pasuk and the middle of the pasuk, the so-called atnach, were usually observed, so that it gave נערות בבל שם ישבנו גם בכינו וזכרנו את ציון הערבים בתוכה תעלינו כי דורותינו כי שם שום דובנו דברי שירותנו לשמחה ושיר ענן בשיר ציון. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's good because it preserves and it maintains the main aspect of the pasuk in Tehillim, which is the beginning, the end, and the middle, the atnach, which is, for those of you that are looking at Tehillim, so let's stay with the first pasuk, pasuk Aleph. Pasuk Aleph, you're going to see under Bachinu, you're going to see an upside down bell. I call it the upside down bell, it's called an atnach, but why not call it an upside down bell and call it whatever you want to call it? And this is maybe the most, maybe not the most emphatic, but it's your post. It's what tells you this is the middle of the pasuk. And David HaMelech actually developed his Tehillim to be sung by groups, the so-called call and answer. I'm going to skip all the other ta'amim. I'm just going to do the call and answer in the first pasuk. Actually, I'm going to use pasuk bet for our initial, because it's a little simpler. So let's concentrate on pasuk bet here, please. Okay, middle. So you could imagine a public jam where you have a back and forth, a call and answer. And Tehillim is a trance. Tehillim is there to uplift. Now, there are 4 levels to scriptures. The so-called tanta. Ta'amim, going from the loftiest, the highest to the lowest, or to the bottom. Ta'amim is what we're speaking about tonight, the cantillations. Then you have the nikudot, which is the vowels, which are on a very high level. Then you have the crowns, which only appear on the parchment. And then finally you have the letters. The letters, and those are according to 4 worlds, which are Abiyah, which are Atzilut, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya. Of course, I'm going over Klalim, you don't have to know these things. And they also relate to the 4 levels of reading the Torah. Now I'm going to start from the bottom. The otiyot is the pshat. The crowns, the tagim, are the remez. The Nikudot are the drash, and the ta'amim are the sod. Well, the melody is the hidden aspect. Melody goes where nothing else can go. And we know that from personal experience. Sometimes only a song can take you out of your rut. And it's not a surprise that Rabbeinu promotes song in a very big way. That's the master key of uplifters, is the ta'amim. So the letters are none but the keli, the receptacle that is here to receive and to vibrate so that the utterance can happen. The crowns are there to tell us the drash, so the investigation of what happened. So for instance, the drash is that when Rivka went to ask from God what was going on in her tummy, it says that she went to the midrash says, the midrash is the drash, says that she went to the yeshiva of Shem Ve'ever. That is revealed in the little crowns above the letters. Then you have the remez. The remez is that which is alluded to. So it's not an investigation, it's an illusion. And so there are many things that are alluded to. For instance, when it says Vayavo Yitzchak ve'Ishmael, when Yitzchak and Ishmael went, we understand that Ishmael gave priority to Yitzchak, and so this is alluded to in the Nikudot. And then finally, you have the ta'amim, which reveal the sod, which reveal what was going on in the kavanah of the subjects in the Torah, which reveal what happened in the actual world, which revealed what happened in the sod gilgulim. If this ta'am is over here, then it means that this was a case of a gilgul of this to that. They're very deep things. And we don't claim, or I don't claim to be a mekubal, but I do get a sense that the ta'am, the most hidden part, that the most hidden part of the Torah is in the actual ta'am. Now, we're expected to write a Sefer Torah, each one of us. And like it says, and you will write this song for yourself. V'ichtevu et hashira hazot lachem. I can't remember the exact pshat, somebody if you want to chime in. But it's, and you will write, and this is from this pasuk that of the Torah, that we draw the mitzvah. It's the last of the mitzvot, to that we have to write a Sefer Torah. Now, I'm not a sofer, and it's a task at hand to write an entire Sefer Torah. However, there's an aspect of writing your own Sefer Torah if you observe the ta'amim, because what's great about the ta'amim, and this is really, if I can share something important that you can take with you, is that the ta'amim are here for you to develop. The ta'amim are the movement of the melody, but they're not the melody itself. So I drew from what was the Tangiers, which is my tradition, the Tangiers modal, the Tangiers melody. But truth be told, it could be done with any melody, because you have the ta'amim that are above the letters, which are usually emphatic. They go up, they're ascending. Ya na 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 na. So we have a ravia, the one that is, if you can see here, or actually for those of you who are looking, so let's here look at Pasuk Bet, staying with Pasuk Bet in Kuf Lamed Zayin. Over the Lamed, you have a ravia. It's emphatic. Okay? Now, there are many ways to go about it. You can find that there is a ravia before the atnach and a ravia after the atnach. The ravia going to the atnach is even more going up, and the ravia after the atnach is setting us up for the end of the pasuk. So those two ravia, which is the dot on top of the letter, they're both emphatic, but one has a little bit more of a downward tail at the end to get us ready for the dismount, for the end of the pasuk. So now, because there are two raviyas in the first pasuk, I'm gonna read the entire pasuk with both raviyas. So the raviyah over Bavel and the raviyah over Bezochrenu. All right, and I'm gonna observe also the pasek, which is a hard stop. It's almost like a hiccup, and you're gonna hear that. And then I'm gonna do the upside down bell, which is the atnach, the middle of the pasuk. Then I'm going to do the raviyah, which is again emphatic with a bit of a more downward tail. And then I'm going to finish on Tzion for the sof pasuk. But you see, for those of you who are looking at Ta'amim, you'll see that under the Yud, there's a vertical line that we call Ma'amid. This is telling you that the emphasis is on the Yud. So in English you say Canada, you don't say Canada, right? We know that. But here it's telling us that Etzion, not, I could have thought that it was Etzion, no, Etzion, because the Ma'amid, that vertical line, is under the Yo. And it's important to know these things sometimes because it messes with, it establishes the groove of David HaMelech. So, here we go with Pasuk Aleph. Anarot Bavel, Sham Yashavnu Gam Bachinu, Bezochrenu Et Tzion. Again, Anarot, I just did a pasek. Bavel, emphatic Raviyah, Sham Yashavnu Gam Bachinu, middle of the Pasuk. Bezochrenu, Raviyah getting me ready for the end of the pasuk. Etzion, again. Al narot Bavel, Sham Yashavnu, Gam Bachinu, Bezochrenu, Etzion. I don't know about you guys, but this completely awakens me. If I go, Al narot Bavel, Sham Yashavnu, Gam Bachinu, Bezochrenu, Etzion, it's beautiful words. But I don't think that's how David HaMelech sang it. David HaMelech didn't just express in a monotone way. David HaMelech emoted. He put everything he had into these songs. And to activate all the energy that he put into them, one has to cover all four aspects. That includes the Tamim. Now, so we did that. Now I want to bring to your attention something that is specific to Tehillim that does not exist in Chumash. Forgive my sniffles, I have a slight cold. And we're going to go please to Pasuk Het in Kuf Lamed Zayin, for those of you who have the Ta'amim. And I'm saying for those of you who have the Ta'amim because to my great chagrin, they started printing Tehillim and Tikkun HaKlali without the Ta'amim. I would liken that to serving a plate that's uncooked and unspiced. I know some people do raw food and there's nothing wrong with that. But imagine even no spice. And that's to me, that's Tehillim without Ta'amim is like a plate that's not prepared. The ingredients are there, but so I'm hoping that, and I encourage you to find printings, editions of publications of Tehillim that have Ta'amim. Some Tikkun HaKlali have it. Sometimes I'll be a nomads going frantically through the library, maybe not that frantically, but going arduously through the library trying to find one publication of the Tikkun HaKlali that has Ta'amim, and then when I find it, I'm like, yes. So we spoke of the atnach, that is the upside down bell, that is the beginning of the pasuk. Okay. So let us go to pasuk Het of Kuf Lamed Zayin. We're staying in 137. In pasuk Het, we have, you'll notice, the first emphatic over Bavel, the Raviyah, the dot over Bavel, which is going up. The small tail at the end, but it's going up. And then we have something that exists, again, does not exist on the Chumash. You have over the dalet, you have that sort of arrow happening, that forward arrow, and over the first dalet, and over the second dalet of Hashedudaya, so under the dalet of du, you have this arrow, and then under the da, you have this sort of forward comma, if you like. They all have names, we're not going to get into that right now. This is actually, and this is specific again to Tehillim, and it's part of the rhythm of the Pasuk, and it's part of the expression of David HaMelech. It's called Ole veYored, these two things, and they represent like a pause, like a deep pause, almost like it's telling you, pay attention. This is something like, ooh. So I'm going to go from the emphatic of Bavel to the pause that we just introduced. I'm going to continue on with Ashke Shei Shalem, Lach. I'm going to go at Nach, under the upside down bell, under Lach, which is the middle of your Pasuk. And then I'm going to go with the Ravia, which is an ascending with a tail that's preparing us for the resolution of the Pasuk. With the Ma'amid under the La, to letting me know that it's Lanu, not Lanu, it's Lanu. Here we go, starting from back. Bat Bavel, Hasheduda, it's a real pause. Again, Bat Bavel, sorry. Bat Bavel, Hasheduda, Ashre Shalem Lach, Gemulech, Shigamat Lanu. We'll do it again. Bat Bavel, Hasheduda, Ashre Shalem Lach, Et Gemulech, Shigamat Lanu. Okay. I chose Kuf Lamed Zayin because it's dramatic. It speaks of exile, Babylonia. Even nations of the world have Hamavdil ben Kodesh Echol made songs out of this on the rivers of Babylon, as we know, and it's very dramatic. And let me tell you, the ta'amim in Kuf Lamed Zayin do not leave you wanting. They're full of turns. And so we did not cover all of the ta'amim yet. And so I'm going to bring some of them to your attention. And within the scope of, half an hour, there is no way that we can, digest everything. It took me a couple of years to really get comfortable to just open up the Tehillim anywhere and just apply the whole mode to that system. So we're going to look at Pasuk Zayin, verse number 7, and we're going to see that over the word et, so we have Zechor Adonai, Livne Edom, et. So this et is a zarka. It literally means to throw up, and it's what it is. It's you offer something up. And it's even bigger than the Ravia. Okay? And oftentimes, because there's such a big emphatic thing, not surprisingly, it's followed by a deep respite. I just went, Et Yom Yerushalayim. Remember that Ole veYored, the arrow over the shin, and that forward a comma under the lamed. So if we go here, it's a big deal. Zechor Hashem, we're pleading Hashem to remember Libnei Edom et Yom Yerushalayim. Haomrim Aru Aru Ada Yesodba. The Bnei Edom, the one who live in Edom, remind them. So to the exilarchs, Haomrim Aru Aru, elevate Ada Yesodba, until the foundation returns. The Yesod, of course, is another word for the gathering means, of course, the Geulah. Here in context, this is a song about exile. So if we take this pasuk, number 7, and I brought it up because it has the zarka over the et, and it has a ravia, which is emphatic already, so it's a big deal. Zechor Adonai livnei dom et yom Yerushalayim haomerim aru aru ad hayesod ba. The rhythm is beautiful. Zechor Adonai livnei dom et yom Yerushalayim haomerim aru aru ad hayesod ba. All of a sudden, it's like we're inhabited by something. It's because these Tehillim are here not as just music or whatever. They're here to activate us. Our neshama appreciates the ta'amim more than anything because it's the pnimiyut. And so we have other ta'amim that, Erez has my contact. If some of you are really interested in this, my door is always open, and we can get into it. So I'll just bring things to your attention, I suppose. So you have another tam, that's the shofar gadol or shofar me'aper. Sorry. If we look at pasuk. Here we are. If we look at Pasuk Vav, the 6th verse, when you go, the 6th verse, Imlo. Imlo, it's literally turn the corner, kind of, it's at the service of whatever is about to happen. Some ta'amim are there as a great emphasis. Some other ta'amim are there to set you up, to get you there. And this, I'll call it turn the corner ta'am. Or if you're a chess player, it's like the horse. It's actually quite tricky. It's there to serve, but you have to know how to use it. Imlo alet Yerushalayim al rosh simhati. You see this one? Rosh simhati. Again on Imlo. Imlo alet Yerushalayim al rosh simhati. It's not a big deal melodically, but it's really there for the movement, and it's quite important. Then at the last pasuk, we have an extremely unusual the shalshelet. It's a sort of, and it's on sheyuchez over the het. So it's sort of that, right? And so, but it's very rare. Honestly, it happens only a few times in the entire Sefer Tehillim. So now that we've covered a bunch of them, and I don't expect you to remember them all by heart, I just want to sort of give you a taste, maybe awaken something, so that you can tell yourself, wow, David HaMelech is a soul man. And Rabbeinu HaKadosh brought these things to us from Tehillim, from Tikkun HaKlali, because Rabbeinu HaKadosh wants us to fix ourselves. And Rabbeinu HaKadosh chose these things not just because of their context of Tikkun HaKlali is enhanced when it's uttered with Tehillim, but with Ta'am. So we're going to say it once more now that you're a little bit more familiar with what we spoke about. I'm going to do the whole 137 again. הנערות בבל שם ישבנו גם בכינו בזוכרנו את ציון על ערבים בתוכה תלינו כינורותינו כשבשנו נושבנו דברי שיר ותוללנו שמחה שירו לנו משיר ציון, איך נשיר את שיר אדוני על אדמת נכר. אם אשכחך ירושלים, תשכח ימיני, תדבק לשוני לחיקי. אם לא אזכרכי, אם לא אעלה את ירושלים על ראש שמחתי, זכור אדוני לבני דום את יום ירושלים. האומרים ערו ערו על היסוד בה בת בבל השדודה. אשרי שישלם לך את גמולך שגמת לנו, אשרי שיוחז וניפץ את עוללייך אל הסלע. שבח שבו. So, let's go to 16. We're going to read just the first few psukim. And you're going to see that the system is the same everywhere. You have the atnach in the middle. Sometimes you have the oliv and yured, the arrow and the comma at the bottom. Okay, so Tet Zayin, 16, which is of course the first of the Tikkun HaKlali. We're not going to do the whole thing. מכתם לדוד שמרני אל כי חסיתי בך אמרת לאדוני אדוני אתה טובתי בל עליך לקדושים אשר בארץ המה ואדירי כל חפציבם ירבו עצבותם אחר מהרו בלסיך נזקיהם מדם ובלשא את שמותם על שפתי. You might ask yourself, if I go to verse number 4, you're going to say, under aher, you're going to say, wait, you didn't do a middle over there. Well, it's not an upside down, it's not an upside down bell. It's, hold on. Let me just check something. Right. It's the bell. No, yeah. It's the bell, yeah. So you see how aher has the upside down bell. And I apologize, I said upside down bell before, and I really apologize. It's a bell. The one that's important is the bell, the one that actually looks like a bell, like this, right? It's under midam. With aher, you have an upside down bell. It's another type of tam, and it's not at all emphatic, and it's there to serve. And I'm going to ask you to at least, for now, ignore, not pay too much attention to it. See it as a move forward. So I'm going to do pasuk dalet again, because you're going to see that I'm not going to do much on aher, but I am going to do the middle, the atnach on midam. Yirbu atzevotam aher maharu balasich niskehem midam, middle of the pasuk, uvalisa et shemotam al sefatay. To clarify again, because this is important, the middle of the pasuk is the bell, and that's the important part. Now there are a few things that I added. When the ravia is on the beginning of the pasuk, especially if it's the name of Hashem, but generally speaking, it's super emphatic because it's the beginning and it's a ravia, it's the very first word. So the ravia usually is that dot, na na na. But here it's like it's super pleading. So if I go to pasuk he, I'm going to start from dalet. We're still in 16. Yirbu atzevotam aher maharu balasich niskehem midam uvalisa et shemotam al sefatay Adonai minat halki v'chosi ata tomir gorali. Okay, good. Sorry. So, I guess in closing, what's important to know is that I applied a certain type of melody, a certain mode. Na 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 na. Now there you have the song of your heart. And in no way am I saying that one should learn the melodies I just sang. Feel free, but that's not the intent. Maybe, everybody has this little, I'm going to be super silly, but I'm actually serious. If the little song in your head is Mary Had a Little Lamb, is that Mary Had a Little Lamb? Is that how it goes? You can do it whichever way you want. I just changed it and I did an average job at observing that melody, but this is about you. And you don't have to be a musician, you don't have to be a singer, you don't have to be a vocalist, and you can really keep it simple and start simple. I did a class this week where I had people who were, learning to be chazanim, and I sort of presented this to them, and they were Ashkenaz. The entire class, as I could tell, was Ashkenaz, and they were getting it. And I said to them, "Okay, I give you a pasuk now that you're sort of getting where we are." And we had a longer time to go over it, and each one, according to the melody in their heart, starting to observe the emphatic going up, the deep respite, the middle, and the end. And I was so moved and touched to see that it was catching on. And so I encourage you, and like I said, my door is always open, but I really encourage you to make ta'amim a part of your reading in the Tikkun HaKlali. Rabbeinu brings the Sod, Rabbeinu brings the Zohar, Rabbeinu brings the Arizal, he obviously brings the Tanakh, Rashi, he brings everything, including the Sod. So, without wanting to be overly heavy or put pressure on anybody, I think we owe it to him to pay attention to all the layers that are there in the Tehillim, for us to get the full benefit from, and to get the full awakening, to get closer to Hashem Yitbarach. So, if this is accomplished, that there is a liking in this, in observing the ta'amim. If next time you look at the Tikkun HaKlali and you notice the ta'amim, and little by little you'll make it yours. I realize that within the scope of this, of a little time, it's not enough time. But think of the ones that are above the letters as emphatic. Think of the ones that are in front of the letter. Usually means the pasek is almost like a slam on the brakes. And then there's of course the soft pasuk, and then the ones that are under the letters either tend to make you go forward or to make you go to sort of resolve down. Tzarich iyun, all these things need to be developed, but if you develop the love for it, and if you start to feel the movement, then you'll be very happy. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen. Thank you again, Erez, and thanks everyone for joining, and a happy Hanukkah. The light of Hanukkah should shine into our hearts, and our people should be successful. And Nitzach Yisrael lo yishaker. We should see that our children should be safe, and that the ones who need to come home should come home, and that the ones that are fighting for us should be successful, and Hashem should bring about the miracles, so that we, Am Yisrael, should unite, and so that the nations of the world see what we're really about, so that Mashiach Tzidkenu would come about and bring the full redemption in this world. Amen.